that Carmelo and LeBron want to play together from what you've been told. We are also now hearing from our Brian Windhorst and Mark Stein that perhaps the Miami Heat are going to make a big push for Melo this summer. So imagine the possibility of the Big Four. How likely is that to happen?
I don't know how likely it is that there's going to be a Big Four, because in order for a Big Four to transpire, Chris Bosh and Dwayne Wade, and to some degree maybe even LeBron, are going to have to take pay cuts in order to get Carmelo to come here. But as I've reported on numerous occasions over the last couple of months, LeBron and Carmelo Anthony would like to play together. Melo definitely wants to play with LeBron. The New York Knicks are in a position where they can give Melo the most money. But what I highlighted in the column is that what people have to understand, and listen up and stop talking when I'm talking so you can learn something, okay? Here's the deal. If you are Carmelo Anthony and you want to play with LeBron James, which he does, and you're LeBron James, you've got all the options in the world because everybody will kick in the door to do what they can with LeBron James. If you're Melo, the first order of business is to talk to LeBron James the minute this season is over, because you want to decide, you want to know what LeBron wants to do. LeBron is a man of his word. I don't care what they tell y'all. They knew months in advance that the Big Three were going to be assembled in Miami. I broke the story back then. I'm telling you what I know. They knew this, okay? LeBron is the kind of person that keeps his word. He is a man of his word. So if he says to Melo, this is where I want to play with you, and this is where I want to go, then it's up to Melo to make sure he can facilitate that happening. As it pertains to being in Miami, the issue here is that it will require guys to take pay cuts. Dwayne Wade has already been on a record saying that he's not necessarily so inclined to do that. Chris Bosh has indicated that he might, but he's also indicated to others quietly that he's interested in being more of a primary option offensively. So we don't know what he's going to do. The one thing that I would say before giving it to you, Skip, is this. The hardest part for Pat Riley and the Heat's organization is going to be Dwayne Wade. Because on one hand, he missed the 28 games of the season. His knees are clearly ailing. He's not what he used to be health-wise. But on the other hand, you don't win the first championship if it weren't for Dwayne Wade and his 37-point per game average over those last 4 games. You don't win the last 2 titles if it wasn't Dwayne Wade getting LeBron and Chris Bosh to come here. Dwayne Wade is one person that can sit there and say, I'm primarily responsible for the championship banners hanging in American Airlines Arena. So you're going to ask him to take a pay cut? You got to think about that. Now, I understand the Heat organization wanting him to, but be clear, it's going to be a tough sell because Dwayne Wade has a legitimate argument that none of this happens if it were not for him. So he shouldn't have to take a pay cut if that's his thinking.
Okay. All right, so the new twist for me, the stunning new twist from Mark Stein and obviously Brian Windhorst, is that the theory here from their sources is that all 3 of the Big Three of the Heat would opt out now. You were looking at maybe like opting in and then trying to do this a year from now?
Yeah, because that was about Melo and LeBron.
I get you. Okay, so they're saying that all 3 would opt out and all 3 would take pay cuts. I'm with you on Dwayne. That would be a tough one for him to swallow. But if he swallowed it and all 3 again reduced their salaries, then this story is saying the Heat could have the most cap room in the NBA. In the NBA? Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
With all the firepower you already have here? So they're saying that it would be easy to fit Carmelo under a cap under that circumstance. So bottom line, with those 3, and maybe it's going to depend on what happens over the next few nights. It might. You know, it might change the dynamic if the Heat win or the Heat lose. But would they all take a pretty sizable pay cut to get Carmelo with LeBron and with Dwayne? Because that team would be pretty unbeatable, I would have to say.
Here's what I can say to you. I find that's a tough thing. That's a tough thing to sell. But if anybody can sell it, it's Pat Riley.
Yeah.
If anybody can sell it, it's Miami. No state income tax in Florida. The lifestyle that you can have with friends who want to play together, all of whom are capable of making money off the court.
All right.
It's something that's possible.
And by the way, last quick detail, they also report that after the recent sale of Beats to Apple.
Yes.
LeBron, who was an early investor in Beats,
Yes.
made a reported $30 million
So,
off that sale
so he has a little
alone.
extra money. He could
Okay,
take
so
a
I
cut.
think he's pretty
You're
good,
saying that.
right?
All right.
Maybe he could afford to take a little pay cut.
Speaking of beats and speaking of tough sales, our next guest is an artist who has an album out right now.